The laughter from the family dinner table, cut deeper than any knife ever, could echoing through the crowded Iowa farmhouse as Leo stood frozen, his fingers intertwined with Miles in a grip that spoke of desperation and defiance. "You two freaks think you can be in love, brothers like that? The devil has you both," their father spat, his voice laced with disgust, while aunts and uncles burst into cruel snickers, pointing fingers as if the brothers were circus freaks on display. Leo's mind reeled, a storm of shame and fury swirling inside him. How could the people who had bandaged his scraped knees and cheered at his little league games now look at him with such revulsion? He had always been the quieter one, the dreamer who found solace in books and in the silent understanding that passed between him and his identical twin. From the moment they shared a womb, there had been an unbreakable bond, but it had evolved in their teenage years into something deeper, something that terrified and completed him. Miles was his mirror, his anchor, the only one who saw the world the way he did, who understood the quiet longing that had turned into love under stolen glances and whispered confessions in their shared bedroom. Yet now that love was the punchline to their family's joke. "This is wrong," Leo thought, his chest tightening with guilt that clawed at his insides like barbed wire. "Maybe they're right. Maybe we are broken, cursed from birth to want what society and God himself forbid. But without Miles, I am nothing, just half a soul wandering lost." Miles squeezed his hand harder, his jaw clenched, but Leo could feel the tremor in his brother's body, the barely contained rage that always simmered beneath his protective exterior. Miles had always been the fighter, the one who took the hits for both of them growing up, but this was different. This was their family turning on them, and Leo knew his twin was battling his own demons, the fear that his anger would push Leo away, the terror that their love was not strong enough to survive the world's hatred. As the mockery continued, with cousins mimicking their clasped hands and exaggerated gestures, Leo's memories flooded him. The summer nights when they had first admitted their feelings, lying under the stars in the back of that same rusty truck, talking about how different they felt from the other boys in town. The way Miles had kissed him tentatively, a kiss that had ignited a fire neither could extinguish. It had been terrifying, exhilarating, the start of their secret world. But secrets always come out, and now the consequences were tearing him apart. "We can't stay here," Miles muttered through gritted teeth, his voice low but firm, pulling Leo toward the door amid the laughter. Their mother said nothing, just stared with tears in her eyes, but those tears felt like betrayal too. Outside, the old 1967 Ford pickup sat in the yard, its paint faded and rusted tires worn, the one thing their late grandfather had left specifically to them in his will. The family had laughed about it too, calling it junk to be scrapped for parts. "Take that piece of crap with you," their father yelled from the porch as they loaded their few belongings. "Fitting for you two freaks." As they drove away into the darkening highway, the engine rattling like Leo's heart, he stared out the window at the disappearing lights of the only home they had known. Tears streamed down his face unchecked. "Why does it hurt so much, Miles? They raised us, loved us once. Was it all a lie? Am I a monster for loving you this way? Every mile we drive feels like I am leaving pieces of myself behind, questioning if our love is worth destroying everything." Miles kept his eyes on the road, but his knuckles were white on the steering wheel. Internally, he was breaking. "I have to be strong for him," he thought. "If I show how much this kills me, how much I want to turn around and scream at them, all Leo might crumble. But God, the pain in his eyes, it is killing me. I have protected him all our lives, but who protects us from our own blood?" The twins drove through the night toward Chicago, their new, uncertain future looming. Leo leaned his head against the window, the cold glass a stark contrast to the warmth of Miles' occasional hand reaching for his. In the silence, his mind raced with doubts. Society had always whispered that being gay was wrong, but being in love with your twin, that added layers of isolation he could barely comprehend. Yet in the quiet moments when it was just them, it felt like the most natural thing in the universe. The rusty truck groaned along the interstate, a metaphor for their battered souls, overlooked, ridiculed, but still running, still carrying them forward. By the time the city lights of Chicago appeared on the horizon, exhaustion had settled in, but so had a fragile resolve. They found a dingy motel for the night, collapsing onto the lumpy bed in each other's arms. "We will make it," Miles whispered, but Leo could hear the uncertainty. In his heart, Leo wondered if making it meant losing the last bits of the boys they used to be. The internal war raged on the Mockery, replaying like a broken record, fueling his crisis of identity. Was their love a beautiful truth or a destructive illusion? Only time and the hidden secrets of the old truck would tell. The city lights of Chicago blur into streaks of neon as the rusty truck finally sputtered to a stop outside the motel. Leo could not shake the echo of his father's words that clawed deeper into his soul with every passing hour. How can something so pure feel like the greatest sin? He thought, his chest aching with a weight that threatened to crush him. Miles pulled the keys from the ignition, his hand lingering on the wheel, as if afraid to let go. I see it in your eyes, Leo, the doubt, the way their laughter is still tearing you apart inside. Do you regret us? Is our love the chain holding you back from the life they wanted for you? The question hung heavy between them, and Leo felt tears burn behind his eyelids. No, my love, he whispered, but inside the storm intensified. Every memory of family holidays, the proud smiles when they won games, the bedtime stories now felt poisoned by the revelation. He loved Miles with a depth that defied explanation, the kind of love that made the world fade when they were together, yet the guilt gnawed relentlessly. What if I am dragging him down with me? What if my weakness lets their scorn win, and he ends up hating the part of himself that chose me? Miles stepped out into the cool night air, pulling Leo close in the parking lot, his arms a shield against the world. We left everything behind for this, for us, but I feel the fear in you like it is my own. I would fight the whole family again if it meant keeping you safe, but what if the fight is inside you now and I cannot reach it? His voice broke slightly, the protective wall cracking, to reveal the vulnerability he rarely showed. Leo buried his face in Miles' shoulder, inhaling the familiar scent that had always been home. In that moment, the internal conflict surged stronger than before. I want to believe we are right, but their voices are so loud in my head, calling us freaks, calling our love unnatural. How do I silence them when they raised us, when they shaped who I am? They climbed into the truck the next morning, the engine coughing to life once more. Miles suggested they check the glove compartment for any old papers that might help sell the rust bucket. As Leo rummaged, his fingers brushed against a loose panel. A small envelope slipped out, yellowed with age. Grandpa's handwriting stared back at them. My dear boys, if you are reading this, you have probably faced the storm I always feared for you. I knew your truth long before you did, and I loved you no less. This truck holds more than rust. Look deeper. Live free. The words hit Leo like a wave of warmth mixed with fresh pain. Grandpa knew, yet he never spoke up to shield us. Does that mean our love was always meant to be hidden, even from blood? Tears fell freely now, his body shaking. Miles read over his shoulder, his own eyes glistening. He believed in us, Leo. This is proof we are not the monsters they say. But the hope clashed violently with Leo's growing doubt. What if believing is not enough? What if I lose you to the exhaustion of constantly proving we deserve to exist? They drove on the Discovery, fueling a fragile spark, but the emotion swelled heavier in Leo's heart. Every mile amplified the internal war, the love that completed him now intertwined with the fear of ultimate betrayal from within himself. Miles gripped the wheel tighter, sensing the shift. I cannot lose him to this guilt, he thought, the protective fire burning hotter. I would give anything to take his pain, but if he breaks, I break too. The rusty truck carried them further, the hidden letter a beacon, yet the shadows of family rejection loomed larger, casting doubt on whether freedom could ever erase the scars. The open road stretched endlessly before them, the Colorado Rockies rising like silent witnesses to the turmoil brewing in Leo's soul as the rusty truck climbed higher. The letter from Grandpa should have brought peace, but instead it ignited a deeper ache. How could one man accept what our entire family condemned? He wondered, his mind a whirlwind of conflicting loyalties. Miles glanced sideways, his hand finding Leo's knee in a gesture meant to ground them both. You have been quiet since we found that envelope. Talk to me. Are you thinking we should turn back, try to make peace with them? The question pierced Leo like a fresh wound. Peace, he thought bitterly. They laughed at our love, called us freaks. Yet the pull of family blood tugged at him relentlessly. I am terrified, Miles. Terrified that without their approval, I will always feel incomplete. What if our love is beautiful only in the dark, and the light of the world will expose it as the mistake they claim? Miles pulled the truck to a scenic overlook, the autumn leaves glowing golden around them. He turned to face Leo, his eyes burning with a mix of love and frustration. Do not do this to us. I left everything, to my job, my friends, the life I built to protect what we have. If you doubt now, it feels like you are doubting me, doubting the nights we held each other when the world felt too heavy. His voice cracked, the emotion rising to a new intensity. Leo reached for him, their foreheads touching in a moment of raw vulnerability. Inside, Leo's thoughts raced faster. I love him more than life, but the guilt is suffocating me. Every happy memory with family now feels tainted. Am I selfish for choosing him over them? Am I destroying the only family we will ever have? They stepped out into the crisp air, the wind whipping around them, as they hiked a short trail hand in hand. The beauty of the landscape did little to ease the storm within. Miles spoke of plans for Chicago, a new start, but Leo could hear the underlying fear in his words. What if I am not strong enough for both of us? He thought, the weight pressing harder. Later, back in the truck, they shared a quiet meal from a roadside stand, a silence thick with unspoken fears. Leo's internal monologue deepened. The love that once felt like freedom now carries the burden of every rejection. I see Miles fighting for us, and it breaks me because I want to fight too, but the voices of our parents echo louder. Miles stared at the horizon, his mind a torrent. I would move mountains for him, but if his heart is divided, I do not know how to heal that rift. The day ended with them parked under the stars, the rusty truck a cocoon for their fragile bond. The emotion had grown heavier, the conflict no longer just external, but a battle for Leo's very sense of self. Would their love survive the journey, or would the past pull him under? Chicago welcomed them with cold winds and towering buildings, yet the chill in Leo's heart felt far deeper as they settled into a cramped apartment, the rusty truck parked below like a reminder of their escape. The city noise could not drown out the internal screams. Every time I close my eyes, I see their faces twisted in disgust, he thought, pacing the small room while Miles unpacked. Am I worthy of this new life when it cost me everything I knew? Miles watched him, his protective instincts flaring into something sharper, edged with desperation. You are pulling away, Leo. I can feel it. The family yes words are winning, and it terrifies me more than anything. Do you wish we had stayed, pretended to be what they wanted? The accusation hung heavy, and Leo felt his world tilt. No, he whispered, but inside the turmoil exploded. I love you, Miles, with every part of me, but loving you means carrying the shame they planted. What if I cannot shake it? What if I become the reason we fall apart? They argued, then voices rising in the small space, the drama unfolding in raw, honest words. Miles slammed a drawer, his anger masking deep hurt. I gave up my safety for us. If you cannot see that, then maybe the mockery broke something in you I cannot fix. Leo sank onto the bed, tears flowing freely. The guilt consumed him, now a living fire. I see his pain, and it mirrors mine, yet I cannot stop questioning if our bond is the beautiful truth Grandpa saw, or the curse Father called it. The days blurred into job hunts and quiet evenings, the rusty truck sitting untouched in the lot. One night, Miles suggested they explore the hidden compartment further. Another letter emerged along with a key. Grandpa had written more. The truck is rare, a collector's dream worth far more than you think. Sell it live, the life I could not. The revelation brought a spark of hope, but Leo's doubt only intensified. Even with fortune ahead, the family rejection haunted him. How can money heal the hole where their love should be? Miles held him close, his own thoughts racing. I see him slipping, and it rips me apart. I would sacrifice the truck, the money, everything to keep him whole, but if he chooses doubt over us, what then? The emotion peaked higher, their intimacy laced with desperation, the internal conflicts threatening to unravel the very foundation of their love. Chicago became a battlefield of the heart where every step forward felt like 2 steps back into the shadows of the past. The discovery of the truck's true value hit like a thunderbolt as they researched the rare model in a Chicago library, the screen glowing with figures that could change everything, yet Leo's soul remained trapped in turmoil. Millions, he murmured, the number feeling hollow. Grandpa hid this fortune because he lived in fear too. Does that mean our love will always need hiding? Miles gripped the table, his eyes fierce. This is our chance, Leo. We can leave the past behind, by a place in California where no one knows us. But I see the hesitation in you, and it is killing me. Tell me, what is really tearing you apart? Leo looked away, the internal storm reaching new heights. I am afraid that accepting this money means accepting we are truly alone. The family might never forgive us, and part of me still yearns for their arms even after the mockery. What kind of man am I if I choose wealth over blood? The conversation spilled into the street, their voices low but charged with years of suppressed pain. Miles stopped under a streetlight, his face etched with raw emotion. You are my everything. If you walk away from us now, because of them, I do not know if I can survive it. The words struck Leo like a physical blow. Inside, he wrestled with visions of their childhood, the shared laughter now contrasted with the brutal rejection. I love him so fiercely, yet the guilt whispers I'm selfish for keeping him in this fight. They drove the rusty truck to a mechanic, the news confirming its rarity and hidden gems in a secret panel. The fortune was real, but so was the growing rift. Leo's monologues grew darker. Every dollar feels stained with the tears of our family. Am I betraying them by claiming what Grandpa intended for us? Miles fought his own battle. I want to celebrate, but his doubt is a wall between us. I would burn the money if it brought him peace, but nothing seems to. The emotion intensified to a breaking point, their nights filled with tense embraces and whispered fears, the love that once sustained them now tested by the weight of newfound possibility and lingering shame. The road to California loomed, but the true journey was within Leo's fracturing heart. California's sun bathed their new life in Los Angeles, yet the warmth could not penetrate the deepening shadows in Leo's mind as they parked the restored truck outside their beachside apartment. The fortune had come through the sale bringing freedom, but freedom felt like exile. I have everything now, he thought, staring at the ocean, yet I feel more lost than ever. The family sent letters demanding their share, the mockery turning to legal threats. Miles paced the living room, his anger boiling over. They rejected us, laughed at our love, and now they want what Grandpa gave us. I will not let them take this from you. But Leo felt the pull stronger. Maybe they are right to claim it. Maybe giving in would prove I still belong to them. The internal conflict had become all-consuming. Miles grabbed his shoulders, eyes blazing with love and desperation. Do not do this, Leo. I have stood by you through every doubt, but if you choose them over us, I will break. The confrontation exploded in tears and raised voices, the drama raw and unfiltered. Leo collapsed against him. I am so tired of fighting myself. Your love is my light, but their scorn is the darkness I cannot escape. How do I choose without losing part of my soul? Miles held him, the tremor in his arms revealing his own terror. I would sacrifice the fortune, the home, everything to see you at peace, but losing you is not an option. The days that followed brought a health scare for Leo's stress-induced collapse that forced Miles to confront the depth of his fear. Sitting by the hospital bed, Miles' internal thoughts raged. He is fading because of this war inside him. I protected him from the world, but not from himself. The emotion reached fever pitch, their bond hanging by a thread of pure will. Leo, waking, whispered, Your love is the only thing keeping me here. The rusty truck's secret had brought wealth, but the real treasure was the choice they faced now, to let go or hold on tighter than ever. The courtroom echoed with the family's accusations, the same voices that once mocked now claiming betrayal as Leo sat beside Miles, the fortune hanging in the balance. Every word from his father felt like a fresh wound reopening the old scars. They say we stole what was theirs, Leo thought, his hands trembling. But Grandpa chose us because he understood. Yet doubt lingered stronger than before. What if fighting them means I am the selfish one, destroying the family for my own happiness? Miles squeezed his hand under the table, his protective fire now a controlled blaze. I will not let them win. You are worth every battle. But inside, Miles battled his own demons. Seeing Leo so torn makes me question if my strength is enough. If he chooses reconciliation over us, will I have the courage to let him go? The judge ruled in their favor, the fortune secured, but the victory tasted bitter. Outside the courthouse, Leo broke down. I won the money but lost the illusion of family. The pain is unbearable, Miles. How do I live with knowing they hate us for loving? Miles pulled him close, the embrace fierce. We redefine family starting with us. But Leo's internal monologue had reached its zenith. The love that saved me now feels like the chain that binds me to endless guilt. I want to be free, but freedom requires burying the boy who still craves their approval. They returned to the apartment, the emotion at its peak as Leo confessed the depths of his struggle. Miles listened, tears streaming. I have never been more afraid. Losing you would end me. Their conversation stretched into the night, raw, honest, and transformative, the drama culminating in a quiet vow to choose each other fully. The rusty car, now sold, its value unlocked, had forced them to face the ultimate truth: their love was the only home that mattered. The Pacific waves crashed against the shore as Leo and Miles stood on the beach, the sunset painting the sky in hues of hope. The fortune now invested in their future, a gallery for Leo's art and a safe haven for Miles' work. The family had faded into distant echoes, their last attempt at contact met with quiet closure. I thought the pain would never end. Leo reflected his hand in Miles. But standing here, I see the truth. Our love was never the curse they claimed. It was the light that guided us through the darkest rejection. Miles turned him, eyes shining with the depth of shared trials. We survived the mockery, the doubt, the battles within. You are my world, Leo, and I am yours. No family can take that. The internal conflicts that had raged for months finally quieted, replaced by a profound peace. Leo felt the weight lift. I no longer question if I am worthy. In your arms I am whole. The journey from that brutal dinner table to this moment had forged them stronger, the rusty cars, hidden fortune, merely the catalyst for the real treasure, self-acceptance and unbreakable love. They walked along the sand, the past no longer a chain, but a chapter closed. Yet in the quiet of his heart, Leo knew the scars remained reminders of how far they had come. Miles smiled, sensing the final release. We made it, my love. Together. Their story a testament to the power of choosing truth over tradition. Is blood truly thicker than the water of chosen love and self-acceptance for two gay twin brothers, or does family have to be redefined to survive, true or false?